Hugo Who?
Hugo Who?
Hugo Who?
Hugo Who?
Hugo Who?
Hugo Who?
He's the democratically elected leader of Venezuela.
I think he's another little tin horn dictator.
He fights for the people. He's more socialist oriented. He's pretty much a symbol of like the worker class.
No, I'm not a fan of communism or socialism.
Wish I knew more about him, frankly.
He's looking to maintain independence for both Venezuela and for other South American countries from the dictates of U.S. foreign policy.
I know he's nationalized oil.
That he rigged the last election so that he won. I know that he plays to the poor people and that he's not like taken over a lot of the companies there. He's not a nice man.
There really was no voter fraud, but the opposition there that is continuing to try to find some way to get him out of power.
I think free market forces would have been nothing but beneficial to most of the people there.
I look with a lot of encouragement of what Mr. Chavez is doing in Venezuela.
People of Venezuela are, in general, better off and improving.
I think he's nothing but trouble, and he's just going to cause us a lot of grief in the future.
There's something that I think that we need in the world.
One day he's going to be aiming nuclear weapons, and what's coming across the Gulf isn't going to be Katrina, it's going to be his nukes.
Hugo Chavez!
Welcome everybody to Hugo Who. This is a forum that I've been working with the Rochester Committee on Latin America on for about a year now, and it's great that it came together, and I'm happy to see a decent-sized audience here. 4 years ago today, I was standing in, 4 years ago yesterday actually, I was standing in the Plaza de la Revolucion in Havana, filming a documentary on U.S. and Cuban relations, and it changed my life. I had been a product of the New York State school system and the media for what the mainstream media for what it was when I was growing up. I had no internet and at least I didn't know about Democracy Now! Or any other alternative media. So I went to Cuba expecting to find something very different. I didn't see a firearm the entire time I was there. I was 20 feet away from Fidel Castro filming him, and he wasn't protecting himself behind bulletproof glass from masses that wanted to see him dead. It was a totally different environment than what I expected to find, and it really changed the way I look at the world. And I decided to devote what little difference I can make into helping other people find an alternative point of view. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to accept it or pass it on to anybody else. But it's important for me that everybody be exposed to it, and it's very difficult with today's mainstream media. So with that in mind, I got together three of the most expert people that I could find on the subject of Venezuela, because I can see this whole slipstream happening that's moving Venezuela very quickly into the realm of the situation that we've had for 45 years with Cuba. And it's not right. It should be avoided at all costs as far as I'm concerned. And I think that the only way it will be avoided is through education and at a grassroots level. So, I don't want to preach or bore you or anything else. I want to introduce you to our panelists, and then they can preach, and they won't bore you, though, I promise you that. First of all, Olivia Burlingame Goombry, learned how to pronounce her name today, Executive Director of the Venezuelan Information Office in Washington, D.C., has come here. She's an expert on the subject, and I met her at the Venezuelan Solidarity Network conference last year, I guess, in D.C. She will be introducing you to the subject. And then Daniel Hellinger is a professor of political science at Webster University in St. Louis and a leading scholar on Venezuela and all things Latin American. And this for me is a real treat. I picked up, you may have seen the books out here, Cowboy Caracas by Charlie Hardy. As soon as I heard about the book, and actually before he agreed to come, I ordered it online. I live out in the boonies, it's hard to get to a good bookstore. So I ordered it online, and it came, and I started reading it, and I couldn't put it down. It's fantastic. And he's here with us tonight to close the show with some real human personal stories of his relations with the people of Venezuela. He's a former ordained Catholic priest. He spent 8 years ministering to the people in the barrios, all those little boxes clinging to the sides of the mountains around Caracas. And he's got some great stories to tell. So I'm going to get off the stage, and each panelist is going to speak to you for 20 minutes, and then we're going to open it up for questions. So enjoy.